So, guys, this meeting is it's gonna be a student-led discussion, and we're just gonna be talking about stuff. It's nothing really formal or whatever. Um, I would like you guys to share your experiences with us, with everyone on the team, like your experiences ever since you got to the US. How's it going now? What you guys are doing, what you guys did over the summer, your career goals, just whatever you're trying to share. If you're comfortable sharing it, go on ahead and raise your hand or unmute and share.
I'll break the ice. Yeah, so back in my undergraduate days, like what I'd normally do for summer would be just taking on some summer classes. I feel like being in the US is kind of like a very great opportunity in the sense that you could like basically double major, because there's a lot of opportunity and I do regret some things. I try to like pursue different minors. You can go for minors too. I feel like in a way they improve your employability, and depends on what you're interested in. And I'd say just sit down, think about a lot of things, what you're interested in, think about what you want to do, and what would improve your resume. Because if let's say you are an engineer and you do something technical related to engineering, like maybe data science, I don't know, something like that, you'd be more employable than somebody who just did basic engineering. So for me, that's what I did. I took some classes for minors and stuff like that, and I think it really helped make some friends, like try to get close to like people who stay over there. So because like during holidays it kind of gets lonely, so if you get invited to stuff, it's kind of nice, you just try to understand what they do and stuff like that, and maybe try hard to get an internship because it really improves your resume. So those are the key things that I kind of worked on during the summer.
Thank you so much for sharing, Gato. Is there anyone else who would like to share their experiences? Well, the team and I came up with some questions, to help you guys be more interactive, because this is supposed to be a student-led discussion. We're supposed to be interacting with each other and networking and connecting with each other. So I would like to know, what are some of the notable experiences with the embassy from your first few days in the USA? What was it like? Did you like have a bad experience? Was it good? What really happened?
I can speak on that one. I know I'm also on the team, but I have a pretty notable experience. So before I even left, it was very like problematic because I wasn't sure until about a week or two, or a week and a half before that I was actually going to leave. So when I did arrive, I arrived at like late at night, like after 12 a.m. And I landed at Lansing Airport, which is a small airport like near my university, but it's really small. Like when we got there was no one at the airport, not even like security. and I had my phone, but my phone didn't have like an T-Mobile or anything or any like American like network. And the Wi-Fi, you couldn't connect to it. So I was basically at the airport. The flight was basically empty, so everyone who had left with their families. And I had 2 bags, and I was just left at the airport. I just thought I was going to sleep at the airport that day. And I was like, oh, what a welcome. Like, I was so convinced that, oh, this is a sign that I'm, not supposed to be here or, something. But then the lady who was sitting next to me in the plane, she was somehow still at the airport, and she offered to give me a ride to school. And then from there, it was pretty much smooth sailing. But I guess my takeaway from the experience is like, when something happens, like, it's not that deep. Like, it can get better. Oh, it's literally just like one small little setback. Like, it doesn't define the whole shebang. Like, it's just for that day. So yeah, that was mine.
Thank you so much, Kaini. I kind of had like a similar experience to yours, but I mean, I arrived properly like at the airport or whatever, but I also didn't know that I was gonna leave for the US until like there was only 4 days left, and I only got my ticket the day I left, so it was like it was really horrible. And then when I got to New York, the campus was not yet open. Luckily, I had a friend that booked a hotel for me. So I lived in a hotel for like 4 days before going to campus. And the embassy had not yet paid my tuition and my campus fee. So I wasn't allowed to get into campus. I thought I had sent the email to the embassy telling them about that, only to find out that that email wasn't a draft and I hadn't sent it. So it was really terrible, but I got over it.
I could piggyback off of that. I got to the US in 2018, and well, let me start from the beginning. I graduated Form 5 at 16, and we had a January intake at my school, and I was already accepted. So ideally, if like everybody worked together properly, I'd be done. But I was told I was too young and I needed to do my A-levels. So that was that. Never came in handy for my degree, but I digress. Moving on to 2018. 2018, the whole preparation process, I believe everybody's familiar with. But I landed in... my school does not have on-campus accommodation. So I had to look for off-campus accommodation. And I am downtown LA. And if anybody knows, downtown LA is really expensive. And you can't sign a lease without seeing a place. So the embassy was insistent, you need to have a landing place. You need to have a place that you're going to go. Understandable, but like, I can't sign a lease, so what am I supposed to do? Anyway, so I come across this shady website, and they're like, oh, student accommodation in LA, super cheap. Because at the time I was working with, I believe it was 1,200. I was working with that much for everything, accommodation, supplies, everything. And you can't do that in LA. But so I find this place at $700. But I have roommates. I'm like, okay, I'll suck it up. This isn't my mom's house, so I'll suck it up. So I get to LA, and first of all, I get to the airport. My phone, that whole phone situation, I have no reception. I don't know how to get internet. And there's supposed to be a person picking me up. Man doesn't speak English either, so that's something. And it's only by God's grace that I could find him. I went to the information desk and I made them make an announcement. And I found the man finally. Charged me $200, but that's fine. So I get there and I get to a roach-infested two-bedroom apartment. And I had 5 roommates, meaning 4 people in the room I was in and 2 people in the other, and each room had 1 bathroom. So that was that. And I had an hour commute to school. And then that was pretty much the beginning. And then I've been going back and forth from the embassy. It's way better now, but that's my first month in LA. Like if I go into the first day, it's gonna be this whole session. But I would like to say I've had smooth sailing. I'm thankful for the opportunity offered to me and everything. But yeah, if you need any more stories, I have an abundance. But that was my first few hours, not even the first day, because the first day had something else as well.
I can share a little bit about mine.
All right, no problem.
So I actually did my last 3 years of high school in the US. So when I came back for university, it wasn't my first time in the US. And I think that helped to not make it as terrible of an experience as everybody else has kind of described. But it was very disorganized. I didn't get my ticket until like a couple hours before I was supposed to be on the flight, and it turned out to be a completely different airline. Like it was just a whole mess. But got to the US, and luckily I had lived here before, so I already had a US phone number and all of that. But just the process of getting my flight and coming into the US, I feel like the embassy needs to do much better, and just have some level of support, especially for people who are coming to the US for the first time, because it's just so different than back at home. And like a lot of other people said, you don't have anybody to contact, you don't have a working phone. There's just so many things that can go wrong. And even when I went to school, like the only thing that helped me was I already knew people here. So I can't imagine like all the other stories that other people have told me too about, similar to kind of what Silvato said, where you just have these basically inhumane living conditions. So I just think we need to do better. And even us as people who have lived here longer, we could even help other people adjust if we're like all in the same area. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree also. Like, I think there would be like a lot more, like, I don't know what the word is, but a lot more success or like cohesiveness if there was a little bit of a like a fellowship element to the sponsorship programs. Like, I think a fellowship produces more like graduates who are like ready for the workspace, like ready as in like they know what they're gonna get, they know they have the resources that they need, whether that's in Botswana, even in Botswana or in America. Like, I feel like it'll be better if we're more equipped in every sense possible, not just like feeding into us financially and no fellowship element. Like, I'm not saying like baby us, but like a little bit of how do we equip these people to be entirely successful after like doing as much as we can, even if it means doing things like this, like having a networking program where we can communicate with each other and interact with each other. Because if the embassy is not gonna, if it's gonna take its time, then we can't take our time as well, because then we have a bunch of people who've graduated in America and worked all these years only to not know how to navigate the country with their degrees, because of like they think as an international student, like if I have had like 10 rejections, like it's better I just go home, when some people have had like 20 and are now very successful and really do understand the American market. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm sorry, Kevin. You wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, guys. Honestly, I'm enjoying myself right now. I'm eating some popcorn. Like your stories are crazy. I'm loving this, you know. Thank you everybody for sharing. I just wanted to say one quick thing. We have some people who are trying to support us, and some of them are from institutions of higher learning, and they actually want to give us some free scholarships, right? So for people in tough situations that really can't pay for their tuition anymore, either because they lost their scholarship or they got screwed over or something, or they know a friend who could benefit from this. I wanted to know what you think about having those people come in to talk to us about how we can get these free scholarships at PhD and some cases master's level. So that's just a question I wanted to pose to you guys. That's it.
Okay. I think it's actually great that you brought that up. I do know some top achievers that have lost status as top achievers because of different reasons. Some are not quite so are not quite clear. I don't know if you guys are aware of something, but I feel like it has become somehow tied. Like the regulations around the scholarship have somehow become tied because a lot of people, I mean, not a lot like that, but it's just that from my experience, I feel like it's a lot from the people that I know are losing the scholarship. Mostly it's because they don't, they don't do well in some classes, and then they are expected to like pay for those classes, but because it's like so expensive, they can't really, so they end up having to go back home or something like that. So I think it'll really be helpful because being here almost feels like you are like at the top, like you're really at the top, and once you fall off it's kind of hard, trying to go back to like a local institution, because I know that, like, I talked to some and they really struggle. But I do know some people who missed out on the top achievers just by a few A stars and stuff like that. So I think it'll definitely be a good thing to bring them on and see how they could help out, give opportunity, and maybe give a second chance to some.
I think that is a really, really good opportunity, Kevin. It'll really be amazing for them to come and talk to us. Let us know how to outstand in the scholarship applications and how to like get those, because I think most of us here are pursuing our bachelors, so we want to go into masters, and it's really hard for our government, our Botswana government, to sponsor us to do masters. It's not easy, as they want us to go back home and stuff, but we can't really leave the US and try to pursue a career in our country. I love my country, I love Botswana, but it's really, economy wise, it's really not the case.
I had a question about the scholarships because I know personally because I'm in a creative career, um, I literally had to fight for this scholarship because they don't tend to sponsor students in more creative careers. So would the scholarship that you're talking about be more for like, STEM and math and finance and all of those, or would more creative careers such as like designers, interior, fashion also be covered by those scholarships?
Um, Bipolo, were you the one talking?
Yes, that was me.
All right, so the scholarships at this point we don't know the criteria, but I think it's something that we can negotiate because they really came to us because of how the embassy is set up, right? They have the funds to sponsor any students who apply to those colleges, right? That are giving away these free scholarships. So the colleges are like, you know what? Because you are very committed to supporting us and everything, we're willing to give students, right, in your cohorts these opportunities. So I guess what we could do is we could bring them in and then have you ask these questions. Because I'm pretty sure, to be honest, if it's going to be a free scholarship, I don't think they'll really mind. I'm just speculating at this point, but I don't think they really mind what you pursue it for, because if they're giving it for free, they're supporting you, right? So I think we'll just have to bring them in. What do you think?
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
That sounds like a great idea.
Hi, and Ruma. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm so sorry. Is there something that you wanted to say?
Hi. Yes, you pronounced it correctly. It's Andrula. Yeah, I was just waiting for a pause in the conversation, but um, I don't know if any of you guys know from the previous discussion with um, the ladies at the embassy. I had spoken briefly or tried to speak briefly in that, but I'm a fourth year medical student. I've been on Top Achievers since I finished secondary school in Botswana, and basically the conditions of the scholarship that were presented to us as top achievers that year, which was 2011, more or less seem to have been lost in translation. Like all of a sudden, these conditions that were not explained to us, or maybe we were told what certain things didn't apply to top achievers specifically, and now all of a sudden they're being imposed on us. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, or if you have any wisdom, or if you've already spoken about it. I don't know. I'm coming into this late because I just came from the hospital. So if you've already discussed it, just let me know. Or if not, maybe we can figure out a way to find out more information about that, because it's a bit stressful.
Well, thanks for your contribution, Andrula. I actually have a strong opinion on this because I'm one of the people affected by the so-called policy changes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Can someone
uh-huh.
are you gonna explain what the policy changes?
Yeah, the one
Yeah,
that
well, the one you're talking
yeah,
about.
what
Okay. Well, I don't know
okay,
if we're
so I get
speaking about the same one, but basically when we got top
mm-hmm.
achievers, I was in the 2011 group, which I think was the second group to get it. But we were told what a top achievers is a presidential award, and so it was going to pay for undergrad, graduate school, medical school, whatever the case may be, and that the condition that's usually applied, which is that when you graduate, you have to move back home, or else your scholarship is no longer an award, it's now a loan, does not apply to top achievers. That's what we were all told. But now we are being, I don't want to use the word threatened, but I'm going to use the word threatened. Basically being told, what if we don't go back home? All of that money is now a loan,
and we will be in debt to the government, which, for me is not an issue so much because I always plan to move back home anyway, but it just seems very unfair that should your plans be delayed or deferred, all of a sudden every single thing becomes a loan when that's not what we agreed to. So I don't know if that's the same condition that you were talking about.
Well, no, not really. I feel like the one you're talking about applies to everyone, but for some reason it sounds like it's applied with sort of impunity in your case, or people in med school, because like everyone else is told the same thing. Hey, go to school, come back. But like, look, no one really listens to that stuff because you're gonna go back home and you're gonna struggle, right? So I feel like we have to bring it up in a sort of organized way with our emotions in check. 'Cause right now I'm very heated. I cannot talk about the situation with anyone in the administration in this state because they might just call the cops on me.
Police! Police! Help! Police! Help! Police! Help!
What's the situation that you are experiencing?
Yeah, so basically I'm out of the scholarship, right? It's not like I failed or anything. It's just like some ridiculous like mind
is it that
games.
nonsense about you were supposed to graduate on this date, but since you didn't, that thing?
No, so it's about me doing 2 masters, right? So basically during COVID, a lot of people were like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to school this semester. And so all the budgeting that was done by schools all over the world, it went pretty much to shit, right? So like they're like, okay, hold on. What we can do is we can discount your tuition. In fact, we can actually add another degree to your program
That's
if you're
amazing.
willing. Yeah, if you're willing to stay an extra 6 months. That's what I did. But we're gonna still pay the same thing. So now the government is like, this one's gonna do 2 masters. You know what? Screw him. We're not gonna give him PhD. I'm like, dude, no, like I'm paying for the one degree that I wanted to go to. Just because I'm getting a free a degree up to 6 more months, it doesn't mean I'm doing too much. It's already part of the one deal.
And that's the issue that I have. And you guys can stop me if you think that I'm incorrect, but I'm starting to see our government is not, or at least DTF and the people at the embassy, like they're just seeing things in terms of, this financial year's budget, and you said you were only doing this, therefore you're like, they don't think long term in terms of return of their with 2 masters instead of 1. It's only more beneficial to them as well. I don't really see why they would punish you for something that's you actually going what's required of you. So I don't really understand how they can turn around and punish you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel the same way as for medical students who are doing their degrees and then they want to do residency here. Korabana, they just see it as, you're trying to get as much money out of us and then just never come back and our money is all gone. But your investment in us as citizens and children of Botswana is not supposed to be solely for a return. Obviously, you expect a return on your investment. But if we go out there and we actually achieve even more qualifications and get even better positions, then we are in better positions to give back into the same scholarship that helped us. And I don't understand why they don't see it that way. Like, you as someone who went out for 1 master's and is actually going to come back as 2 can be an asset for them, whether you're here or there, to say, okay, I'm going to be a mentor. I'm going to show other students how they can achieve more the way that I did. Like, I just don't understand why for them conditions are not flexible, because life doesn't work that way. We go into these scholarships when we're like 18, 17, 18, 19. By the time you're 25, 26, 27, life is not the same. The plan that you had when you were 18 you can't always go to exactly that plan. And the same way that life has been flexible and we've had to adjust, I don't understand why they cannot adjust with us within reason.
Here's the thing, right? I think as a collective, we need to at least first acknowledge sort of like the bigger problem here, right? And which is we do not have representation, right?
Yep. No, we
You
definitely
see,
don't.
yeah, that table where the decisions are made, we don't have representation. So I think we should figure out how we can propose, hey guys, look, we would like to have some representation. Like when you guys want to do any policy changes that are going to affect the future of our lives and how our lives going to change, we need to be part of that conversation. Either
Definitely.
by them coming to talk to us as a group or by us selecting a few people. At the very least we could do is like just get that conversation started and have
Yeah.
representation.
That's a very good place to start, actually. I think that's a great idea. And to further that idea, I think it would be good to have, first of all, our representatives need to be people who not only have been in our shoes, like specifically people who were sponsored in this country, in the US, but also it can't be people who were sponsored 30 years ago, 20 years ago, because their experience is just not the same as ours at all. Also be beneficial to have maybe like a representative in each sector, like one in the arts, one in the mathematical sciences, one in the other, like medical sciences. Do you know what I mean? Like, because someone from this, like, medical sciences cannot exactly represent someone from the arts because we don't understand their experience. So I don't know, I guess even further than that, it's just a very frustrating situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's great. We
Um,
can do that. And so far, so looks like you had something to say.
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah, her
she's had
hands has been
her hand raised for a while.
Yeah.
I
You could go, you could go.
think this is like a nitpicky issue, but obviously I'm about to graduate and I'm thinking about like my postgraduate career and like things like that. And so when you're looking into that path, the amazing thing about our scholarship, from what I hear, is that you can go as far as you like, right? And I'd like to pursue a career, academic writing, which requires a PhD, which is like 10 years and 10 more years in my field. But obviously life continues and you're not 18, you're gonna be 28 or 30 or whatever. And that's when people start families, right? That's when you're no longer a kid and stuff like that. So I remember, I'm not sure if everybody heard about this clause or they read it. If you fall pregnant, then you are automatically exempt from the scholarship. So I'm wondering like if it's because of the financial implications. Say you're getting married, you have a family, that's the end of your validity as an asset to the country simply because you have started a family. I think there needs to be a revision on that part. Like, I understand if it means, oh, you're going to be distracted in your school, but as far as and as long as you're able to sustain and maintain your academic performance and your contribution through the scholarship, I do not see why a pregnancy should stop your academic career. Because that's, unfortunately, that is a huge contributor to, it's a huge factor in the considerations I'm making for my career. Am I going to have a family or am I not? Am I going to have a career funded by the government or am I going to choose to have a family and lose that? And I don't think that has to be a decision that you have to make at the big age of your late 20s. Like maybe in your early 20s, you can say something, but your late 20s, your early 30s, however age you are, I think there needs to be a revision of that And obviously, if we're going to go into politics, it unjustly imposes on the rights of women over men, but we can go on about that like for a while. So I just wanted to topple that in there.
My addition is kind of what Andrula was proposing about if we had representation, making sure that our representation are people who are currently being sponsored and not from like 30 years ago. But I think it might also be beneficial to still have people that were sponsored all those years ago, because I currently live in Atlanta, and I know somebody who was living in Atlanta like 25 years ago, and they are even appalled at like how much money we're getting to live in Atlanta. It's the same money they were getting 25 years ago. So I think having people who have been in that situation who are also able to be like, hey guys, things have changed. They need more support. They need more of this and more of that might also be beneficial. And I also think having representation from different careers is also going to be beneficial, because as a fashion design major, what my poli-sci friends and my engineering friends go through is very different. And I think the embassy in general doesn't have a lot of experience with my major in particular, which makes everything so much more difficult. Personally, I don't think there's anything for me just yet as a fashion major in Botswana. I can't imagine going through all of this work and going straight home without, having any actual experience in the industry. Because that experience might give me the insight, the knowledge to go home and make a difference. But just coming straight out of school, I just don't think that's beneficial even for the country in itself. So that is a conversation I think we need to take up with them.
Yeah.
Great point, Below. Thank you so much, everyone that's been, contributing. Thank you so much for attending this meeting today. This meeting was scheduled to go on for an hour, and we have about like 13 minutes left. So I have one other thing that I would like to ask you guys to do. Can anyone share with us like the summer experiences? This past summer, the break is coming to an end, and would like to know how y'all made the best out of the summer, both academically and career wise, like internships. What did you guys do?
Before we go on, can I just please say something? Yeah, so guys, I often feel some type of way, like, sometimes when you just talk about problems and they somehow don't get addressed, it's kind of frustrating. So, all that we've mentioned, we're gonna get our heads together and see how we could like relay all this information to management. And that you say it is noted, and yeah, we'll keep seeing what to do with it and give you some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katlo. Is anyone willing to share their summer experiences with us? I mean, I could start. So this summer, I was attending a program by the Wall Street Bound. So I'm an economics major with a finance minor, and I want to get into the financial services industry. So I just had a program with the Wall Street Bound where I was getting training, and I was being told, how to make it into the finance world, and I was getting hands-on experience and making a lot of networks, making a lot of connections, connecting with people that are already in the industry. There's a lot of people that I really connected with. I got my resume reviewed. I got my resume taken to some organizations for summer 2023 internships, and I'm also getting some certification that will be very beneficiary for me as time goes on.
I guess I can share. I'm taking some online classes that both have to do with my major, and I haven't really been doing any internships or anything, but I have been working on my portfolio, and I'm hoping to do internships next summer. So other than my classes, traveling to different states to see friends and stuff like that.
Thanks for sharing with us, Ribelo. Kanye, do you have any last words?
I was just typing something out right now, but I'll just say it now. But I enjoyed Wipilo's point about including people even from 30 years ago and stuff. And I just wanted to note that our networking team director, Kevin, has been kind of on the front lines of setting up the stipend, the inflation, how like inflation influences the stipend and how much we're actually supposed to be getting compared to what we have been getting, because obviously each state or each few states have a certain like way that they increase according to the inflation, and there's a significant difference in that. And together with that, and like hearing firsthand from people who were sponsored, it's obviously a clear shift in how much we're supposed to be getting and stuff. And a lot of these things wouldn't have been got if we did not have a network, or if we did not communicate with each other. We would literally all be like nishad from like just being in our own space and going to the US just to study and get it done and over with and go back to Botswana. Like, that is exciting and nice, but it's good to help each other. So I love this session today. I just wanted to say, and I hope that we can have more people, like invite more people to our meetings so that more people can get help and know that there's something that we're doing here that is supposed to be helpful, yes, to ourselves, but mostly to each other. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Kanye.
Yeah, I guess I'll just drop some knowledge. Yeah, so like for summer guys, those who are just starting the undergraduate, I just say, just try to get your license. It's always good to like, because you can always rent cars and stuff like that. Just visit some friends, sightseeing. Those 4 years should be one of the best 4 years of your life. So just make sure that you get your license. It's not that difficult to get your license in the US compared to like in Botswana. If you need some extra cash, there are always opportunities with on-campus jobs, especially at big campuses. I went to Penn State, and it's a big campus, so they always needed on-campus workers, especially at like dining halls and stuff, and they pay a decent amount, and yeah, so just try to get to know some people down there and make some friends and just make it an enjoyable experience. Just internships too. It's always the best time to like apply to as many as you can. Don't get discouraged. Like sometimes you have to like apply to like 500 before you even get anywhere. And sometimes you gotta make friends, make connections, and some friends will get you there. So do not get discouraged and work hard, make friends, and make good friends. Ask them about the good stuff that they do. So yeah, anything you guys need, we're always here as the networking team. Reach out whenever.
And once again, thank you so much, guys, for being here today. And hopefully you guys are going to join us for the next town hall meeting. Invite your friends, invite whoever you know in the US or back home, anyone that's been in the US, anyone that's that has had to deal with the embassy, invite those people for our town hall meetings. Would love to have a bigger audience. Today's audience was big enough. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I hope you guys check out our last town hall meeting on YouTube. There's a link on the WhatsApp chat. I hope you guys click on that link and go check it out. Thank you so much.